Hi everyone, so excited to welcome you to yet another episode today. Today's guest is someone whom I've known personally. I admire her work deeply, and the impact that she has actually transforms life. Please join me in welcoming a dear friend, Shaifalika Panda, who is the founder of Bansidhar Ila Foundation, Ila Panda Foundation actually, and I cannot wait to just jump into the conversation straight away. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me here, Kavitta, and thank you for the kind words.
Okay, so Shifalika, I'm going to start at the very beginning. I know that you've had this transient journey through the corporate world, seen success there, and then taken a conscious call to pivot and go into development space. Tell us a little bit about this unusual journey, not so unusual, but this remarkable journey that you've taken.
You cannot operate independent of the communities. You must carry your communities with you. And those values are something I saw up close and personal. And I figured that if I really wanted to put my time into a social impact space, then the best place to do it is taking this canvas and painting a nice, colorful picture on that.
So, something that you just said was carrying your community with you. I think that's so important. And let's spend a moment talking about that. Because in today's world, we see that we are becoming very individualistic as a society. And it's all about me and mine, personal interest, personal gain. I think a little bit of ethos is from the nature of work that you do, that you're looking to impact and socially develop communities that need them. But I find it actually really remarkable to think of this concept of taking the community forward in your success journey. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I honestly think the way we approach it, it's not such a big deal, and it's not an either or question. It's actually a mutually beneficial way to operate. You cannot have an island of prosperity in a sea of despair. It's as simple as that.
Well said.
And that's how we've always operated at IMFA, and that is what has been, the push factor for us at the Bansidhar Ila Panda Foundation, where truly I'm carrying a legacy forward and trying to continue it and, take it and make it larger. How we did something 40 years ago is very different to how I am now running the situation today. That is because you evolve with time, you look at things in a different manner. But when my father-in-law came back to start the IMFA, his objective was to create livelihoods for the people of Odisha. His objective was not, I want to set up industry.
Right.
So it's how you approach this.
All right. So now we see a lot of people mid-career, a lot of people, young people are achieving big things. Thus, in their 40s and 30s, they always talk about giving back. They talk about doing something different. When you took this pivot from corporate success to development work, talk about a few of your experiences. They could be experiences that, gave you immense joy. There could be an experience that sort of shook up what you saw. And what really were your top 2 learnings?
So look, I've been now in this space for 20 years. I was roughly about 33, 34 when I decided.
You've just given
I just gave away my age, but that's fine. But I just, at that phase, I said, I want to do something different. And like you said, it's become quite common for us to change careers.
Yes.
And, but prior to this, while I was working, I had a couple of small ventures in which I had sort of experimented. I was doing some work through another NGO, small NGO I had set up in Delhi. And at that time, as I said, work was done charity mode and you feel good about it.
Yes.
And I learned the hard way that if you do not even take your development work and put it through meticulous process, have a very specific target and outcome, create a method of evaluating and monitoring it, it's not going to happen.
Right.
And that learning is something that really held me in good stead, because I already knew that when I set up the Bansidhar Ila Panda Foundation.
Right.
So I've been very, very clear that while the objective is social impact for the beneficiaries at large, but within the foundation, we manage it with complete meticulous process and evaluation.
Right. So the learning in this is that no matter what you set up, you must have planned for what you're going to do. B, you must have processes set in place to be able to succeed. And 3, the evaluation metrics must definitely be in place for you to be able to take the step forward or recalibrate or continue to doing what you're doing. So again, very successful for any student or parent who is listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. You know, it has to be a structured approach. It has to be, it's very simple. What gets measured gets done. So, you know, when you look at, say, if a student has to learn from this process, it's not that there is one space of work which is easier or demands less of you.
Right.
If you're doing a job, please give that job 100%.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, I've referred to you as a successful person. But to you, what does success mean to you? How do you define it for your children? And when we look at the urban landscape and we look at the rural landscape, and I'm saying rural just to create this definitive between the metros and the other cities of India, what is success? Does it seem any different there versus the urban metros? So I know 3 questions, but like
you can remind me if I skip one over the other, but sure. You know, you talked about urban versus rural. So let's first address that.
Sure.
To give a bit of context to your viewers, I work at the grassroots level. Now, I am talking completely remote areas. We're talking about going to remote hamlets and villages, which are very difficult to access. And if there's any work that we want to carry out, and we work across the spectrum, right? In terms of, we work with water sanitation, we work with preventive health, we work with livelihood skills, we work in education. But the way I see it, I don't like to look at these as independent segments and verticals. We work in a convergence approach because our USP is being at the ground level.
Okay.
How do we talk about, let's take a student coming to school, if they're not healthy?
Absolutely.
If they don't have food in their belly, if their anemia levels are not good, if they, you know,
health and hygiene is
they
just
don't
not
have
a
the money for
consideration.
it. They don't have the money for it. And how do you talk about good health without water and sanitation? If you're not following good hygiene practices, you don't have access to water. So it's all a trajectory.
Correct.
And then, of course, if you don't have foundational literacy, how do you then go on to be productive? How do you learn skills for employability and so on and so forth? So while education is foundational, the early stages are critical for any human being, for any individual. That's one of the spaces we work in. You talked about success. So given that my daily work is in a space where nothing is a given, education is not a given.
Yes.
I know you work on mentorship with students, and where you're based, it's about being able to get a better opportunity,
Correct.
not about opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Where I work, it's will they even go to school? So success is relative. Success is relative based on your reality. Success is relative based on your geography. Success is relative based on your, circumstances, social background, capabilities. So it's about how you tackle the issues of patriarchy and poverty at the grassroots level is what success will define you with. For me, I'll give you a few examples of success. I have young mid-aged women in my SAG programs. And to them,
what
success,
is SAG?
self-help group programs. through which we teach women financial and social literacy. It's a flagship program that I started about 15 years ago called Project Unnati. So we've impacted more than 5,000 women in this program. And the idea is not just to have financial inclusion, but also social inclusion. So when they learn, along with the financial inclusion, the success to them is they know how to operate a bank account. They're illiterate.
Right.
So success to them is operating a bank account. If we look at my Kanya Express program, which is an anemia-related program for adolescent girls and now boys also in schools, success to them is having good health parameters after knowing what this is, the awareness of how to take care of their health, how to prioritize themselves, and therefore they will be looking at a brighter future. Success is also to the 65-year-old lady who decided to join our community literacy program. The 1,000 basic words that she's learning at the age of 65, that's success to her.
Absolutely.
You know, and only then do I come to what success here means for my children or your children or students, where I run a K-12 school called the BIPF school. And that's pretty much to say, acha, you need your marks, and what is the stream you're going to select, and what is the career you're going to choose.
Yeah. So see how success at every step is so different, and how it gets validated dependent on what your circumstances are, what your environment is.
Sure.
And, you know, which brings me to another trend that I'm seeing in the cities is parents are not allowing their children to work hard. Parents are not allowing their children to take the tougher math. Parents are not allowed, you know, they have the grades, they have everything, but will the pressure be too much is a question I'm often asked. And, you know, there is that fine line between having the determination and grit and discipline to succeed and take the tougher maths and excel at it, versus constantly bubble wrapping the children and not giving them this opportunity to even try. Give me an instance of grit and determination that you have seen in your neck of the woods.
Well, I think firstly, you know, when the opportunity of education is not a given, even the parents' approach is very different.
So, Shifalika, in your area of work, give us instances of grit and determination that you have seen both parents and children exhibit to get ahead in life.
So you're absolutely right, Kavitta. The thing is that in urban settings or in settings where education is a given, you know, we're not looking at building grit and determination. You know, the fire in the belly is less. We want to make things easier for our children. But when you look at a landscape where the opportunity of education is not a given, it is not guaranteed, then parents approach this differently. To them, they still believe in the traditional careers that, you know, hamara beta doctor ya engineer banega. They want to work them harder. They are not pushing that we should have more co-curriculars and extracurriculars, etc. They are very clear, focus on academics and academics alone. The children are still different because, you know, whatever it is, any child going to a proper formal education, even in a tier 3 or more remote area, is still exposed to the social medias and what is happening in the world. And therefore, there is that gap where they are now wanting to embrace careers out of
the traditional
boxes.
Yes.
Right? And the parents are not necessarily on board. But the one thing that is there is they do see the situation of their parents. They understand some of them are first-time learners. So they're very clear they need to be a success. They need to do whatever it takes to get there. And that's where they're not mollycoddled the way
urban children are. Absolutely.
You know, I won't say urban children because there's a whole segment of the urban poor.
Yes.
But kids who have access to, you know, education and many other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's talk a bit about your own parenting style. And I'm going to be objective about this question. As a parent, would you consider yourself someone who has allowed your children to try and succeed and also face failure? And what is your approach to when they do fail?
I think, firstly, all of us as parents, at whatever level it may be, are guilty of being a little soft on our children. Having said that, I do believe that I'm amongst the few parents who is still a lot more hands off. I don't know. You do know me over the years. I don't know what your opinion of that is. But I'm still a little more hands off. I haven't seen, my girls are now 23 and 18. Okay. I think ever since they went into probably middle school, I don't know what their homework is. I do not know what their submission time was. I did not know whether they have submitted things on time, because maybe they didn't, and they didn't several times, but that's what builds responsibility. You learn with consequences. In this mad rush to get the best academic score, if we are going to constantly micromanage their daily timetable, we're robbing them of that skill.
It's so true what you've just said, Shifalika. I call it actually the snowplow parenting. Before it even snows, you start clearing the driveway. And then they don't get the joy of dancing in the snow. They don't get the mess of the snow. They don't get the slidding and sliding of the snow. All of which is really important. It's very important to teach our children that it's okay to fail. And then how you face that failure is
how you get up from failure
Exactly.
and move forward.
Exactly.
I mean, and this doesn't have to be in an academic context,
Absolutely.
right? Look at parenting even otherwise. In their social context, in what they think they must do or what the outcome is. I think that we have forgotten to teach our children the difference between privilege and entitlement.
Very interesting. Okay, in your mind, what is the difference between privilege and entitlement?
See, privilege is something, let's say, you're born into, right? Whatever your situation may be. And from where I work, privilege can even be the very fact that, yes, you will go to a good school, you will have a full education. It's not in question. But privilege can be more than that, especially given the settings of Delhi and, everything else, where there is a certain lifestyle given to you.
Right.
Entitlement is to think you earned it and it will always happen for the rest of your life, come what may.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Now, that's not a given. I think the children need to know for themselves, this is how hard we need to work to achieve wherever we want to be. And at some point, nobody is going to come cleaning up the mess. If I can take this back to something we do at our programs at the Bansidhar Ila Panda Foundation, I talked earlier about the difference in how we approach our social impact today. There was a time it was charity. Let me give you a fish to eat. Today, it's about enabling lives.
Yes.
I want to teach you the skill of identifying where you will find that fish, go with the skill of fishing, then cooking, and then eating it.
Yeah.
I mean, very simply.
Yeah.
I'm spelling it out in a very, very simple manner. So that's where it is. So what we do now is every program is co-designed with the beneficiary after an interaction and listening with them. When we carry it out, there are responsibilities and ownership that the beneficiary needs to take, because after all, this is about their future.
Absolutely.
Parenting is really no different. It shouldn't really be. We should be teaching them, this is how you should be functioning independently in the future and taking control of your life.
So all those micromanaging parents, this is really words of wisdom that you must follow. Okay, moving on from there. Let's say I'm a family of enough for myself and I want to build into my children this ethos of giving back.
Okay.
And not just charity, but this ethos of giving back something sustainable that creates transformation in the long run. How can I, as a parent, start that with my children and my family?
I think we need to walk the talk first. It's as simple as that. Children imbibe by what they see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus put on formal education.
Yes.
But I don't think we put enough focus on the informal aspects of learning that come from the home environment, that come from the environment that, your friends and family
Yeah.
and etc. It's all very well to say, I took them today to an old age home or to a local school and, etc. But it also depends, like I said, how are they watching their parents approach these things? It's important that we ground our children. It's important that it doesn't matter, like you said, enough is again relative.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you have. There's always something you can do. You can be nice to the household help. You can be empathetic about their situation. Sometimes all people want is that you hear them out. Maybe just talking to someone can help them solve their problem from your knowledge. Yeah. It's all about seeing people. In the hustle and the busy lives we lead today, we forget to pause and see people.
Also tell me, is it important to now, within the formal education system, start making students more sensitive to the world beyond books and classrooms?
Kavitta, I have a very different take on this.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk that happens, and it's about the NEP says this now. We've changed the system. We should make children more sensitive in schools. We should do. If we're going to make everything about our child's learning based on the institution they go to, where is our responsibility as a parent? I would like to know.
Okay.
I think it's very important if you're raising sensitive children. Why is it that we can't teach them sensitivity at home?
Absolutely.
We cannot outsource everything and say, okay, now we're done as parents.
Yeah. You've actually used a term which is not nice to say or hear, but parents today are actually looking to outsource parenting. And that's where I feel that disconnect between what your value system is as a family, what the social fabric you're creating as a society, and then the tomorrow. We talk about leaders and thinkers and doers of tomorrow, but how will they emerge when that big piece is getting fractured by trying to outsource everything that is available? So I think that's so truly well said.
I mean, there's a very fine line between learning the art of delegation and just outsourcing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. In the rural setup, where, there is a limited income, where access to resources is not that many, where the choices are not that many, how do you see the parenting style that is still prevalent there? What do you see that tells you that, okay, this is a good thing to take back, or this is how I would make this better?
Well, okay. So firstly, what I see is that parents are obviously extremely involved in especially the academic education of their children. To them, they still follow traditional career paths.
Right.
They do not understand that the world out there has changed. There are many, many career options, even outside the traditional paths. Right. And I think that's something even we don't understand here. I mean, honestly, what is being talked about, that we're educating our kids with skills that they may not need for the jobs of tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So imagine how it is in a geography which is not exposed. They see technology as the enemy sometimes. So we've had parents tell us, why do you have homework come on an ERP? Why do you have them check their homework on digital mediums? Why don't you make them write it down in their notebooks? Because they feel that the kids are constantly on the phone. Screens, And this is the segment I'm talking about, who is in proper K-12 schools. I'm not talking about the ones into the other basic literacy programs. So they fear that, the minute a student gets a device and they have a very valid reason to say that I need this device for schoolwork, it can be misused or
Yeah.
the number of hours. So, you know, they are a lot more protective about that space simply because it's that much harder for them to pay for that education. So that is one thing I feel that they need a little more awareness. And that is one thing we know, that in the metros where, you know, our students are learning in the most modern ways,
Yes.
The fact that they are leveraging technology.
Right.
And while, yes, there is a downside to it, even for all of us,
Yes.
Including you and me, who have to be somewhat guilty of using social media for irrelevant scrolling.
Yeah.
But we do understand the benefits of it far more than they do.
Correct. And I think technology in some ways is bridging the divide, but technology in some ways is also making them more aware of things that they may not have access to just yet. So I believe it's a very exciting time. There is going to be space for local services, brands, amenities to open up because the demand for those things will increase just simply because they're more informed about it. But on the other hand, I feel technology is also bridging this gap where if you're doing a podcast in New Delhi or if you're doing a seminar in New Delhi, I know for a fact that your school often arranges for students to join those webinars and learn from them, which earlier would not have been possible.
That's like what telemedicine did 20, 30 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On this topic of parents still wanting children to follow traditional careers, you know, there is a large part of a parent, no matter where they are placed, that they often live their own dreams through their children. And, you know, they aspire for their child to do everything that they did not get a chance to do. I don't think that that is truly fair on the child, but that's also I think, the psychological nature of what we see happening around us. So how do you then, in the rural setup, where it's often a first generation learner going to school, where the dream was for them to become an engineer, etc., but you see that the student either may not have the capability or maybe better at something else, which may not be the traditional career path. How tough are those conversations to have?
Those conversations are very tough to have because, you know, the parents are looking at this as that transformational moment where their child is going to go out and be secure.
Yeah.
You know, just like someone says, "Mujhe government job chahiye," that is secure.
Correct.
The private sector is not secure.
Right.
Similarly, they think at least once you're a doctor and an engineer. So we have had the issue where several parents say, "No, my child will take science." And we are seeing these grades of a kid very, very low in science and math. And we know they're not going to be able to do well. And then which entrance exam are you really going to be able to clear?
Right.
And so what we have started, of course, is regular conversations with parents to create and to build their awareness on these issues about the various job opportunities in other spaces.
Right.
But it is tough to have because they understand it very slowly and perhaps sometimes not in real time when the student has to take a decision.
Right.
But I guess, you know, you keep working at it, and that's just the way out.
So now let's flip to you as a parent with the same situation. That we don't know what the new careers of tomorrow are going to be. The traditional paths are disintegrating as quickly as we're talking about them. As a parent, if you were faced with a situation where your children come to you and say they want to follow a path less traveled, or they want to do something that does not tick the box for you, how have you dealt with this situation, and how do you foresee yourself dealing with it if you've not faced it yet?
So in my case, I can say this: if they come up with any career path, I'm okay with it, right? Like, I'm not pushing them into a particular stream or a particular job or a particular profession. But yes, when it becomes very out of the box, one of my daughters told me, actually one of the sports coaches in the school told me, "Please let your daughter play cricket, ye IPL khel legi."
Right.
Okay, and she is very good. And I thought to myself, what nonsense. Okay, which means you have like 6 hours of training, but it's
Yes.
going to come at the cost of education.
Yes.
So the problem we have as parents in this setting and in our sort of segment
Yes.
is we're not willing to let education or let a career come at the cost of education. And I have several friends at that level. So to that extent, yes, guilty as charged.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't believe that I'm pushing them into any segment or asking them to choose a career in one path or the other.
So a little bit earlier, you said children imbibe what they learn. So what are dinner table conversations like in your home?
It's actually not about work and business,
Hmm.
interestingly. It's very generic, and it's more about, what their day was or what we want to do next as a family. I think the imbibing part is more watching and learning. It's not necessarily, but yes, of course, other than dinner table conversations, there are moments where we obviously sit down and we talk about, what do you think you want to do, or the responsibilities that you do have. Being in the family and having to take forward, for example, the work I do at the foundation is not something that should stop.
Right.
So, of course, those conversations do happen, but that is not a career choice.
Having seen professional success and having seen professional success in the development space, tomorrow, if you had to advise students, which one would you advise them to pick, one or the other, or try to balance both?
So, first, I would say pick the career where your heart sings. It really doesn't matter. And my second advice would be, why does working in the development space have to wait to be a career? It can be something you do alongside.
Right.
The scale never has to be the issue. The magnitude never has to be the issue. Whatever you decide to do in the social impact space, just do it well.
Right.
Whether it's one person or it's 1,000 people, it's not relevant.
Yeah, most people wait for that opportunity for something big to come along.
Yeah, it's always an either or. I don't believe it's an either or.
Yeah.
Right?
So as educators, as parents, what should our stance be? What should we encourage our children to do?
I think we should encourage our children to lead a purposeful life, whatever they define that as.
Right. So purposeful, where the purpose goes beyond your own self.
Yes, absolutely. You're engaged, you have a purpose in life. Careers will come and go, they may change. The other thing I would tell students is, don't think that you studied X and that is why you have to make a career there.
Right.
I studied business management. Look what I'm doing today.
Yeah. No, but you're actually using what you
Absolutely,
learned.
but the conventional thought that business management ke baad, to you will be in that space.
Correct.
Why can't I use those skills somewhere else?
Correct. So what you're saying, if I rephrase this, is education is never lost.
No.
The learnings from your education or pedagogy that you follow can be transformed and used in any career that you choose to follow in the future.
Yes, and the other thing, be a constant learner. Because things are changing so rapidly in this dynamic world, you need to be a constant learner.
Okay, tell me 3 things that you do that make you learn constantly.
I sort of try to go into spaces which are not usually my area of focus and learn from friends in different areas.
So that means keep your eyes and ears open for opportunity for new learning?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not necessarily an opportunity of new learning, but I think keep your curiosity high.
Very nice.
Right?
So the first thing, keep your curiosity always high. Second thing.
The second is don't look at anything as non-worthy. Okay, because I think a lot of times we judge a lot. We wonder why somebody is doing what they're doing, how it makes sense. If it's a different area, if it's something at a small scale, if it is whatever it is, just learn from what that segment can give you.
Right. Right.
So I think we judge too much. So be curious, be open-minded is the way I'd put it.
So be non-judgmental, be open-minded, be curious. Next.
and always challenge yourself.
What was the last thing that you did that challenged you?
Well, I'm actually working on a new project in micro entrepreneurship, which is something new for me.
Right.
And the way I'll put it together, I'm hoping to learn different things from it as well, and different stakeholders coming together.
Where does the hunger to keep doing new things come from?
I don't know. Traditionally, I wouldn't call myself a very ambitious person. So I guess I look at organic growth. And if something fits the block, I think the hunger just comes from there because it's the right next step to do.
So if I were to listen to your last answer, which was to be open-minded, to be curious and constantly learning, it is natural that opportunity will cross your path.
That's one way to look at it. Sure.
Right? So for students and parents listening to this, I think that's like an invaluable takeaway. If you are open and curious, it's natural that organically opportunity will cross your path. And then it's the onus on you
to seize the opportunity.
Right?
Yeah. Don't let it go by.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm asking, that you've achieved this huge level of success. You could sit back and say, okay, I have come here. What keeps you going?
Oh, it's tempting. I do think of that every now and then. But, I just believe that when you come across the right opportunity, especially if it has depth, I'm not somebody who necessarily looks at scale. I'm not chasing scale, but I am chasing depth of interventions and intergenerational transformation.
Okay, I'm going to take you back in time.
Okay.
Tell me a fond memory from school and tell me one learning from your parents.
Learning from my parents, I would say, was a combination of responsibility, empathy, and outreach.
Okay.
A fond memory from school was always out playing sports. I loved playing basketball. And to me, that was like my place to shine.
Right.
So, it wasn't in academics.
Yeah, sure. So you've had your share of fun. And how important is it to keep having fun in life?
Oh, I'm a huge believer in that, as you know, and I know why you asked that question. So I think it's all okay to do your work and be serious when you're doing your work.
Yeah.
But you have to let your hair down and you have to live at the same time. Don't put your life on hold.
Yeah.
Again, these are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. So great. Balance the fun, balance the hard work, but keep the discipline, the dedication, the openness to learn, and seizing the opportunity when it crosses you by. I think those are just success mantras for every student to follow today. And I think inadvertently, you have been quite wise on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Tell me 20 years from now, what is it that you will sit back and say, I have achieved this, so I am feeling fulfilled?
I believe in baby steps. I believe in recognizing the small milestones that you keep coming across. And that's very, very important in the social impact journey. Because this journey is not a linear path. You cannot put it on a bar chart or a pie chart or, a scale and say it's always going to be an upward trajectory. I do believe that in the 15 years that we've just recently completed, we've impacted 2.7 million people thus far.
Yeah.
In the 15-year journey of the foundation.
That's amazing.
And going forward, I want to focus on equal depth for every initiative that I take. But two areas of focus are going to be agriculture and climate resilience. The idea is whatever we do, build a robust ecosystem to strengthen local institutions so that individuals can take control of their own future. And the way I look at it, I say that we're in the business of enabling lives.
Yeah. So I think our mission is quite similar. You're enabling lives, for change and transformation. I, in my very small way, am enabling students to make correct choices and decisions. But I could not thank you enough for the time that you've spent with us. I think this conversation has been honest. I think this conversation has been very real. And I think anyone listening to it has huge takeaways from it. So thank you so much, Shifalika, for being here, for sharing everything with us. And I wish you all the very best of luck as you go forward on this journey of transformation.
Thank you so much, Kavitta, and all the best to you as well.
Thank you.